Her presence at the top of CBS News means all of those institutions are totally fake. That's why.
All of what institutions? The news institutions?
Or that institution, Wall Street. If Bill Ackman, you tell me one, and I'm not even like moralizing, and I don't hate Bill Ackman, but like Bill Ackman's an idiot.
Who is he? I don't know him.
He's a hedge fund guy who's made most of his money by short selling. And that means I go on CNBC and I attack your company, its stock price falls, and I've made a reverse bet against the stock price, and I get rich. You tell me how that benefits your society. Talking about American companies, like how is that productive? How is that the act of creation? It's the act of destruction. And I give you $8 billion, the whole system is rigged, okay?
I think a lot of people feel that now. They feel like the system is rigged. They feel like there's no way for them to win. They feel like it's all insider trading.
You've watched a clip on Tucker Carlson and Theo Von's podcast and picked up on something that no one else has picked up on. It's a short selling clip that you wouldn't think these guys would touch on that.
Yeah, Tucker Carlson and Theo Von, two very entertaining guys. I enjoyed the podcast, but we've got to correct Tucker Carlson here. He's wrong about short sellers. He says that short sellers are a menace to society, and they bring bad things to the world. And I would argue the opposite of that. Short sellers are actually a good thing for the market, and they help everybody. For a start, short sellers correct any overvaluations. If you've got two sides of the trade, you're going to get the fair price at the finish line. So you need to have short sellers in the market who are betting against the stock, along with people that are betting in favor of the stock, and that gets to a fair market price that people are willing to pay on that day. So that is the first reason. And of course, an even bigger reason is finding fraudulent stocks. A lot of the big frauds out there over time were sniffed out by short sellers. You know, things like WorldCom, Enron, huge bankruptcies and turned out to be massive frauds were discovered by short sellers, putting that information out in the market and letting people know what's going on. So that is another huge reason.
Yeah, and that's just transparency. I mean, they can refute those claims. They can show what they have on their books or don't have. People don't have to believe what they say. People say it's just a freedom of information. Really,
all the information should be out there. And Tucker in the clip at the start was saying, well, people go on CNBC and tell people they should short the stock and they're making money out of that. But there has to be a factual basis to that. You can't just go on CNBC and talk about a stock that's doing really well and short it. You actually have to have cold, hard facts before anyone's going to pay attention to you. So Tucker, much as I enjoy listening to Tucker, he's absolutely wrong on short selling. The other thing we've got, a lot of people would argue right now, we've got this huge asset bubble and lots of assets, particularly in tech stocks, AI, and so on. And again, short sellers can help balance that out. They can, again, if they think something's overvalued, they're putting their hard cash on the line.
Yeah.
Which they're very much at risk of losing.
More so than anyone who just bets with it. So yeah,
because there's no limit. If you buy a stock, you can't lose any more than what you put in. If you're short selling something, there's no limit as to how much you can use. So these guys are real risk takers. We've both been there as short sellers ourselves in the past. And you've got a huge risk. The market can go, even if you're right, the market can continue going against you for a long time. So short sellers are actually more brave and courageous than someone just buying a stock, because you have got to watch that position almost 24/7.
Exactly.
If you're going to guarantee you're not going to make a loss on that, and that is, it's a huge risk.
Yeah. Especially as you said, if you can't just go on the news as a stock's got absolute strength and then say, "Oh, short now," because you could get short squeezed out immediately. You kind of have to wait until there's like you said, actual information that's legit, that's not good about that company, or you have to wait until things have actually started to turn to the downside. So it's a massive risk, and you have to time things out.
Another reason in favor of short sellers is the increased market liquidity. So if there are buyers in the market, they also need to have sellers, because if there are no sellers, there's no one to buy stock from. So you need short sellers to create market liquidity. And this is always happens whenever we have a big market crash. Everyone blames the short sellers, and that is nonsense. It's not the short sellers that are the cause of any market crashes. It's short sellers are a crucial part of a market that functions well, and someone has to speak out in their favor sooner or later.
Yeah, actually, a really good point you make there, because when you think about it, when Wall Street's crashing from the Trump tariffs or whatever, all these short sellers might be making money, but when those short sellers cover their positions, they're then actively buying to cover that short. So that's also, I guess, gives the liquidity to assist with these kind of V recoveries that we get. We probably shouldn't get V recoveries, but we get them. Yeah.
Exactly. That's the point another point that I was going to make. If you have a big pullback, a big crash in the market or in an individual stock, yes, sometimes the only buyers there are the short sellers covering their positions. They're the only buyers. There's nobody else that wants to buy
Yeah.
that stock when it's crashing, other than the short sellers
Just
covering their
covering.
positions. So that can actually stop the market going to nearly zero.
Exactly. Yeah,
Again, it's
exactly. And when they're buying,
pushing that
when their
margin.
covering comes in, it gives confidence to other people who might not know it's short selling covering. But then those people come in, and then it's kind of self-fulfilling prophecy where everyone else gets in off the back of others getting in. So yeah.
Exactly. We had Tucker calling the fund manager Bill Ackman an idiot, and Bill Ackman's a guy, a hedge fund manager, very well known, who's worth something like $8 billion, and you don't make $8 billion by being an idiot. This guy, and he's not purely a short seller either. He's a smart fund manager, clearly. With respect to Tucker, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, yeah. I think sometimes on these podcasts, you kind of get people to give a lot of views and opinions, but actually you need to verify that what they're saying is good. I mean, there's a whole host of things that he talks about. We actually agree with probably 95% of what he talks about, but it's just on this thing. You critique your best friends, don't you? You help them improve themselves rather than
Tucker clearly doesn't understand the market. So we got an example there of someone talking with great confidence about a subject he knows nothing about. I'm sure he's much more knowledgeable than a lot of people on geopolitical events, American politics, and so on. But on financial markets, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah. He seems to have a thing against kind of VC type people, anyone who makes money through venture capital, because I guess maybe from his point of view, these people aren't the founders of the business, but then they are strategically helping these companies, and sure, like they might be making more than he'd like them to make, but it doesn't take away from the fact that these people and these short sellers are good.
I would say short sellers deserve every penny of what they make, but given that it's such a difficult thing to do. And the last point that I've got on short sellers is that they discipline the management of companies, because if you're a big short seller, and the management of the company know you're there, and you publicly disagree with their strategy, they've got a bad strategy, and you publicly disagree with it, you publicly put your money on the line by taking that position against that company, the management are going to pay attention and listen, and it may force them to change a bad strategy and ultimately save the company, or cause other shareholders to change the management entirely. So
it's a good point. And I think there's no excuses for big companies. If big companies are supposedly getting short sellers, there's plenty of information out there for people to make their right decisions, and it's not like a massive. I mean, one area that maybe might count on to try and defend him is, for example, I mean, we've run small cap companies before, and they can get hit more so by reports or libel than a bigger company, because a bigger company can easily fund a defense and tell the truth and get the truth out there. Whereas if you're a micro cap company, you might get hit by a massive report and not have the audience to receive your kind of counter to their report. But I don't know. What would you say your view on that is? Would you say it is what it is and it's got to be the same across all markets, or do you think small cap companies? I don't know. They because obviously libel can be a thing as well.
It's also more difficult to short small cap companies, so it probably balances itself out at the end of the day. Because if you try and short a micro cap company, it's going to be difficult to borrow the stock to short that company. So probably the market's probably fixed itself, because there's no liquidity there to actually go and short a small cap stock in the first place. So you're dealing with medium cap stocks and large cap stocks in any case. So the problem probably fixes itself.
Yeah, interesting. I think those are all really good points. It's just a quick answer to. I mean, actually, we can touch on some of our wins. We talked about DJT and MicroStrategy. I think I could pull the charts up quickly. I mean,
DJT, that's our old favorite. We said to short when everybody was going long with the euphoria at this time last year, Trump had just taken power, and we said it was a bad bet. Then they've since changed their strategy, and they've gone to be a Bitcoin treasury company, or a crypto treasury company, as they call themselves. But it's gone down. How much has it gone down since we said it was a bad idea to?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, we just in the video we just recorded, we were talking about how don't get into strength. I mean, we were a bit ballsy in telling people to short into strength, whereas normally you'd wait for things to kind of roll over. I mean, we did it on around this day here, but we said specifically wait for this 9p moving average, wait for the price to cross back below the 9p moving average.
Yeah.
And we had drawn out, okay, these are the highs, but it's really struggled to get higher than this line here. And I mean, you can either say you might have got out right, got a short position right at that line, or if we're being honest, maybe below that blue line there, so around here. So, but if you got in there and had a stop but above the high, you would have been making money on the downside here as it rolled over. And then when it came down to here, actually, I think we did a YouTube video where we mentioned that once it was coming back up to the 200 to short it again, and then that was where it's been, and that's come all the way down from there. So that's a big one.
Yeah,
Two
it's been
perfect trades on that.
it's been a disaster for investors, DGT.
Mm.
I don't know why anybody would get into a stock like that in the first place, because it clearly had nothing backing it, and
Yeah.
other than the Trump name, it's got nothing going for it.
Yeah, it was 10 times higher than its asset value. And we like to talk about asset value and actually what people actually have now. At 40 to 50, it was $4. And it probably is still $4 is where the asset value was. And the reverse split back in wherever it was. I remember telling people to buy this company when it was down here just on a sort of speculative play. Of
It's
a
not a cool
merger.
round trip.
Yeah, it's like a full round trip all the way back down to that $10. And maybe if it got down to 10, which it's getting to now, if it's not, it's started to have a small bounce off the 10 there. I mean, if you wanted to try and do a cheeky long, I mean, just so that we're not totally being one-sided, then around that $10 zone could be something to watch. Just if you look at the technicals, there won't be any fundamentals in this trade, that's for sure.
But as ever, when you look at the technicals, wait until it actually does have a solid reversal. Don't
Yeah.
go in now. Don't get in now. Wait until it has a solid reversal.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you might get a double bounce here. So you hit 10 was there, it got up to it, got back above, as you know, as if things fall, crosses over the blue line. You might have done a position there for a short move.
Highly speculative. I
Yeah.
wouldn't do it, but
Yeah.
everybody's to their own thing. I think the short sellers have won the day on this one.
Yeah. That's a good point. And then the last one, which I remember telling you to short this as well. I mean, we told the viewers to short this once it got, well, we were around here in this video and yeah, I mean, we love the chart on this. I mean, it bounces off the 200, bang, 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 bang.
Beautiful chart.
Beautiful chart. And then, but it also means that doesn't mean just on the buy side. Wait until it gets underneath it as well, and use that to short on the underside. And I mean, we were talking about it here. We were saying like you can short, pretty be confident to short now. It was struggling to make new highs, and then obviously it wasn't also rising with Bitcoin because this is kind of almost it's a system doomed to fail when you just borrow money to keep buying an asset in a cycle.
It's not a business. If you want to buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin. Why would you buy MicroStrategy? It's insane.
Yeah. And then the writing was on the wall when it started to fall before Bitcoin fell. But then if you wanted a perfect trade here, I mean, it's got up underneath, come up to the 200, tapped it. I was telling you that. I also told you, I remember writing you a text to say, look, let's short this on this day here, but we were waiting for more confirmation, which was obviously the second red day crawling back down. And then from here, it's hugged that 9p moving average all the way down. And we have started to trade sideways above it here. But I mean, that was a brilliant trade. I mean, what's that from here to there? That is for 50%, which is.
I suspect in 2026 there are going to be many other brilliant trades in MicroStrategy, and we'll try and cover them here. But that MicroStrategy is a great stock to trade, but I'd be looking primarily on the downside, although it's inevitably it's going to have a bounce, maybe sometime soon. But
Yeah.
we'll be looking for new entry points to be shorting this one all the way down.
Yeah, I think as this curls over here, and then this comes up maybe around 280. If it gets to that 200 around here, and then rolls over, that could be a really good opportunity.
Again, then I would definitely be looking to short that one.
Yeah, definitely. It's very easy to read, and I think just because it worked on the upside doesn't mean it won't work on the downside as well. And with our prediction, that was an amazing prediction with Bitcoin. Basically, we called a crash at 123K, and that maybe it's going to trade sideways for a few years. If that is the case, I mean, that fits the bill, doesn't it? That 280, if it got up to 280 and just started coming in this range and just chopping for a while, could be some really good trades. So
the interesting thing to watch in this, I don't think we're in danger of it anytime soon, but if MicroStrategy ever becomes a forced seller of all the Bitcoin that it's got, then that would not look good for Bitcoin at all.
yeah, that will put a lot of pressure on this stock, but also Bitcoin as well. Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much. And that was a really good, nice, concise reply. And let's see if I send this to Tucker or his manager, see if he see what he thinks and what their response is. If they got the balls to respond, maybe I can send it to Bill Ackman too. We'll see. Lovely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cheers.
Thanks, Jack.
Look, I think the answer is, well, first of all, I'm philanthropic generally. There is a taint associated with short selling. My experience with MBIA is every time we talked about or made a presentation about MBIA, people would say, oh, he only believes that because he's going to make a profit if the stock price goes down. And what's interesting is all day people go on CNBC and talk about stocks they like, and no one discredits them by virtue of the fact they're going to make a profit if it rises. But on the short selling side, there's something, at least some people perceive as inherently wrong with it. In the MBIA case, the stock basically went up for years. The credit spreads got tighter and tighter, and the AAA rating remained. Until one day I gave a presentation at, forgot which conference, and I said at the end of my presentation, I hereby commit to give away 100% of the profits that I personally make from this investment. That was the high for the stock. It went straight down. The credit spreads went from 13 to 2,000. We made, a lot of money. Yeah. I seeded the Pershing Square Foundation with $140 million from that. Look, I think the answer is, well, first of all, I'm philanthropic generally.
Please don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and join our Discord chat room linked in the description so you can see these plays and get in these opportunities when we do.
In the modern world, great leaders resolve their conflicts with words.